Hello everyone, I am J.Nageswara Rao, School Assistant in English. Welcome to this video on articles. Before we go into the topic articles, we have to know what are articles, how many kinds of articles are there. As we all know, there are two kinds of articles. One is a or an. This is known as indefinite article, and the is known as the definite article. Let us go into the details of this topic, articles. First of all, what are articles? We have to define, or we have to know what these articles are. Articles are called determiners because they determine or specify nouns. That means these articles, whether they are definite or indefinite articles, they are placed before nouns and they determine the position of those nouns. That's why they are basically known as determiners. And they are also known as demonstrative adjectives. Demonstrative adjectives. Why they are called demonstrative adjectives? Since that means because they modify the nouns before which they are placed. So as we have seen, articles are placed before nouns and they qualify or modify those nouns. That's why since they modify nouns, they are also known as demonstrative adjectives. Now let us go to some examples. Indefinite article. First of all, indefinite article we shall discuss. What is indefinite article? It is a or an. A or an. So these two are called indefinite articles. And what do they do? A or an specifies or modifies a non-particular noun. That means not a specific noun. It can be used before any noun. For example, I saw a bird. Bird. Bird means I am not referring to a particular bird here. A bird means some bird, not a specific one. And second one, I bought an umbrella. An umbrella, not a specific one. Or one umbrella, not many. Single. An umbrella means one umbrella. A bird means some bird, not a specific one, not a particular one. Now, definite article. What is this definite article? The definite article, the specifies or modifies a particular noun. That means it indicates the position, the particular position of a noun. For example, the book I bought yesterday is interesting. Here, book is the noun. Which book is interesting? The book. The book means a specific one, or the specific one which I bought yesterday is interesting. For example, the sun shines in the east. The sun. The sun means it is the only one, unique one. Sun is the unique one. And the east. This direction east is also only one. It is also unique in quality. That's why the sun, the east. So the word the here, it is specifying or modifying the nouns before which it is placed. So that's why it is known as definite article. So basically, indefinite articles, a or an, they specify non-particular nouns, and the definite article, the, it specifies or modifies a particular noun. Now, we have to understand, where should we use the indefinite article a? A is used before a singular countable noun. Whether it is a or an, it is used before a singular countable noun. That noun must be singular, and that must be countable. That should not be uncountable. That begins with a consonant sound. So we know A, E, I, O, U. These are called vowel letters. And representing these 5 vowel letters, there are 20 vowel sounds. So if a word begins with a consonant sound, if it is a singular countable noun, we have to place a before it. For example, a horse, a man, a saree, a door, a mouse, a pipe, a chair, a ball, a computer, a desk, a tiger, a bat. Here, look at these underlined letters in all the words here. See, horse, H, it is beginning with the letter H. So it is H is a consonant. Here man, M is a consonant, S is a consonant, and door, D is a consonant. Similarly, all the underlined letters in the remaining words are also consonant letters with consonant sounds. That's why the indefinite article I is used before them. Now, an is used before a singular countable noun, or it is used before a singular countable noun which begins with a vowel sound. Unlike the indefinite article this an is used before a singular countable noun that begins with a vowel sound. I is used before a singular countable noun that begins with a consonant sound, whereas this an is used before a singular countable noun that begins with a vowel sound. For example, here look at these words: egg, all, inkpot, hour, heir, animal, urgent, eagle. So in all these words, the first letter is underlined. Here you find the letter E, but it represents the sound of A. An egg, an owl, an inkpot, an hour. Why we should use an here? When this word begins with H, a consonant letter is not important. Whether it is a consonant letter or a vowel letter, sound is important. So H is not pronounced here. That's why we have to say an hour. We are omitting H here. We are not pronouncing it. That's why we should call it. We should pronounce it like an hour. An hour. We should say an heir. Here also H is not pronounced. So we have to say an heir, an animal, an urgent message, an eagle. So in all these letters, in all these words, the first letter represents a vowel sound. That's why we have used an. So what is the basic rule here? Whether it is a or an, the indefinite article is used before a singular countable noun. That is what we have to understand. A or an are never used before plural nouns. That is what we have to understand. Where to use a or an? So we have seen that a or an are indefinite articles, and where should we use them? Here, whether it is a or an, first point, it is used in the sense of one. In the sense of one, a or an means one. For example, we bought a house. Here a house means one house, not more than one. A house, one house. She paid a rupee for the candle. A rupee means here 1 rupee, not more than one. So here the letter a, the indefinite article a means one. Look at the third sentence. The woman is carrying an umbrella. An umbrella means only one umbrella. So an means one here. Next, in the sense of any. In the first case, we have seen that a or an is used in the sense of one. And in the second case, in the sense of any. For example, look at the example one. I am looking for a good hotel. I am looking for a good hotel. So here, good hotel. Hotel is a singular countable noun. But before that word, another adjective is there, an adjective is there, that is good. And it begins with the consonant letter G, the consonant sound G. That's why a good hotel in the town. A good hotel means any good hotel, not a particular one. I am looking for a good hotel. That means any good hotel. That means next one. Can you lend me a pen? Can you lend me a pen? I want to write. Can you lend me a pen? A pen means any pen. I'm not asking for any particular one. Any pen I need to write. That's why, can you lend me a pen? Next, he did not utter a word in response to my question. He did not utter a word. A word means any word. So, in this way, we have to understand that the indefinite article a or an is used in the sense of one and in the sense of any. And number three, in the sense of a certain, not a particular one, a certain, an indefinite one. I saw a woman selling fruits in the market. I saw a woman. A woman means here a certain woman, not a particular one, not a particular one, a woman. A man came and called me by name. A man means a certain man. I don't know who that person is. A man, a certain man, not a particular one. Next, a smith wants to meet you. A smith wants to meet you. Here, smith is a proper noun. It's not a countable noun. Then why this letter, this indefinite article, I is used before it? Here, smith is a proper noun. So if you use a before a proper noun, what does it mean? A smith wants to meet you. What does it mean? A certain man whom I don't know as a Smith, or whose name I don't know as Smith. You may know him. You may know that he is Mr. Smith, but I don't know whether he is Smith or not. He just informed me of his name as Smith. That's why a Smith. That means a certain man whom I don't know by name Smith wants to meet you. So in this way, in the sense of a certain, we use this a or an. Next, in the sense of every, we use this indefinite article a or an. Murali gets a salary of rupees 20,000 a month. He gets a salary of 20,000 rupees 20,000 a month. A month means every month, not just for 1 month. Every month he gets a salary of 20,000. He earns rupees 5 lakhs a year. A year means every year. You must apply this ointment on the wound once an hour. Suppose you have received a wound or injury. Doctor has prescribed an ointment. And what does he say? He says, you must apply this ointment on the wound once an hour. An hour means every hour. So in this sense, in the sense of every also, we use this indefinite article or an. Now let us move on to the next point. To make a proper noun a common noun. This is important. To make a proper noun a common noun. Usually we don't use this indefinite article before a proper noun, but we can use it to indicate a specific purpose. What is the purpose here? When do we use a or an before a proper noun? Look at example number 1. Mr. Shastri is a Valmiki. Mr. Shastri is a proper noun. Valmiki is also a proper noun. And before this proper noun Valmiki, we are placing the indefinite article a. Why? To make it a common noun. By comparing this great man Valmiki with another person by name Mr. Shastri, we are making Valmiki a proper noun, a common noun. That's why we are placing a before it. Next, Mr. John is a Shakespeare. Mr. John is a Shakespeare. Shakespeare is a proper noun. But we are comparing this great person's name with another proper noun. That's why we are reducing Shakespeare to a common noun. Next one. That boy is a Newton. So there may be a boy who is very well talented or who is very talented in science. You simply say that boy is a Newton. That boy is a Newton means a talented boy in scientific experiments. So by comparing that boy to this proper noun, you are reducing this proper noun to a common noun. My friend is a Kohli. So you are suppose your friend may be a good batsman, and you want to compare your friend with Mr. Kohli. Kohli is a proper noun. So by just placing a before this Kohli, this proper noun, we are reducing it to, we are making it a common noun. So for this purpose also, to make a proper noun, a common noun, we use this indefinite article. This is what we have to understand. Now, where we use a in place of an, that means we should not think that if a word begins with a vowel letter, we should place an before it. And if a word begins with a consonant letter, we should not think that we should place a before it. There are some exceptions. What are they? Why we should give some exceptions? As we have already said, we have already noted, sound is important, not the letter. It's not the question of a letter, consonant or vowel. It is the question of its sound that is important, to place either a or an before it. So where should we use a in place of an? Before you sound words. What are they? He is studying in a university. It's not university, it is university. So the sound is U. The sound is U here. That's why university you have to say U. That's why we have to place a before it, not an university. A university, U. Before the sound of U, you have to use a only. Mr. David is a European. European. Here also we have to use the sound of U. European. Before this one also we have to use, because here the word university, it's not beginning with a consonant, it's not beginning with a vowel sound, it is beginning with a consonant sound, that is U. Yeah, this is J represents yeah, and this is followed by the long vowel sound U. That's why it is called U, university. Here also a European, a unique, here also unique, a universal, universal truth, a universal truth. Next, a union leader, union. Here also the word union, it begins with a vowel letter, no doubt. But here the sound of the letter U, it produces the consonant sound of ya, followed by the long vowel sound U. So this represents, this J represents a consonant sound. That's why we have to say a union leader. So where we have to use a here, a university, a European, a unique person or woman, a universal truth or universal rule, a leader. What kind of leader? Union leader, a union leader. So like this, we have to use a before these words. Next, there are some other words before which we have to use the indefinite article a. Naveen is a eulogist. Eulogist. Here also the from the letter, the vowel letter E, from this one, E plus U, U. So this is also beginning with a consonant sound here. That's why a eulogist. Here also a uniform, uniform. Here also the sound of U. Let's all work together as a unit, U here also. the word, in the word unit, the letter U represents the consonant sound ya. And then a ewe is a female sheep. A ewe is a female sheep. So this is what is the exception to the point that even though a word begins with a vowel letter, if the sound is a consonant sound, we have to use a before it. That is what we have to understand here. Next, and there is another rule, that is before W sound words, in some words, the letter O represents the consonant sound of W. Consonant sound of W. There also we have to use a. For example, India and Australia are playing a one-day match. Here, look at the word ONE1. How do you pronounce it? Just like you pronounce the word WON. WON. So from this letter O, this vowel letter O, we are getting the sound of W. Here it is. A one-day match. A one-day match. Right, next. Children saw a one-eyed bird. One-eyed bird. Here also the sound of W, consonant sound of W is produced from this vowel letter O. That's why we have to say a one-eyed bird, not an one-eyed bird. Similarly, she gave a 1 rupee note to the beggar. A 1 rupee note here also. And then where should we use an in place of a? Here also sound is important. Sound of the first letter is important. Look at these examples. Before words beginning with H, which is not pronounced actually. So when the letter H is not pronounced in a particular word, before that particular word or but that particular sound, we use an. For example, they have been waiting for an hour. An hour. So here we are not at all pronouncing the word H. We are beginning the word with the sound of a, hour. So that's why we have to say an hour. H is not at all pronounced. Next, he is an heir to his ancestral property. An heir. H is not pronounced here also. That's why we should say an heir. Vinod is an honest man. Honest. Here also H is not pronounced. That's why we have to say an honest man. Next, teaching is an honorable position. An honorable position, not honorable. We should pronounce it like honorable. Honorable profession. That's why we have to say an honorable. Next one. Receiving the Bharat Ratna is an honor for anyone. An honor, not honor. It is honor. So that's why we have to omit this word, letter H, and begin the word with a vowel sound. That's why we have to use an. When we have to use an? When we don't pronounce H in a particular word, and if H is followed by a vowel sound. This is what we have to understand. Next one. In some abbreviations also, before some abbreviations, even though they begin with a consonant letter, they start with or they begin with, the pronunciation begins with a vowel sound. Let us discuss how. There also we have to use an, not a. My cousin has got an LLB degree. An LLB. Why we have used an LLB and before LLB? LLB here it begins with the consonant letter L. But why we have used an here? An LLB. How do you pronounce this LLB? Look at this pronunciation. LLB. LLB. We don't pronounce separately. LLB. At a stretch, we pronounce these letters. LLB. LLB. So LLB starts with or begins with the sound of vowel sound of A. LLB A. So that's why we have to say an LLB degree, not a LLB degree. Next, Mr. Arvind is an MP. An MP. An MP. How do you pronounce this word MP? M. A. It begins with the vowel sound A. MP. That's why an MP. Similarly, an MLA. An MLA. Next, an RTC bus. RTC. How do you pronounce this letter R here? Ah. Look at this sound. Vowel sound. RTC. RTC. So an RTC bus, we should say, not a RTC bus. My brother is working as an RMP in a village. RMP. 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 So we have to pronounce like this. So that's why RMP. So that's why, since this abbreviation begins with the vowel sound of A, we have to say, we have to use this and this indefinite article before this abbreviation RMP, even though it begins with a consonant letter. Nowadays, we hardly find an STD booth, an STD booth, not a STD booth, an STD booth, we have to say. STD, how do you pronounce STD? Look at this one. It begins with the vowel letter E, but the sound is A. STD, an STD booth, we have to say. An RTC bus, an LLB degree, an MP, an MLA, an RMP doctor. Here are some more examples where we have to use an before abbreviations. Sundar is an SBI employee. SBI, SBI. Here also the sound of A. Even though the letter is yes, the sound is A. That's why an SBI employee. For example, this computer is an HCL product, not HCL product, an HCL, an HCL. So here, HCL is important here. That's why the sound is H, A. This is a vowel sound. That's why we have to use and before this abbreviation HCL. But remember one thing. As far as we use these words as abbreviations, since they begin with a vowel sound, we are using an. But when we expand these abbreviations, that means when you want to read out the words, separate words in these abbreviations, we should not use an. Look at these examples. A member of legislative assembly, MLA, an MLA you should say. But when you expand that abbreviation, what you should say? A member of legislative assembly. Mr. Khan is a member of legislative assembly or an MLA. Okay, if it is used as an abbreviation, we have to say an MLA. But when the letters in the abbreviation are expanded, if the full form is read out, we have to use a only. A member, a member. We are pronouncing this letter, the consonant sound M here. That's why we have to say a member of legislative assembly. So the same is the case with an RTC bus, but here it is expanded. A road transport corporation bus, we should say. A registered medical practitioner. We cannot say an registered medical practitioner because we are not pronouncing all the three words in this registered medical practitioner at one go. That's why you have to use a here. Similarly, a State Bank of India employee, not an State Bank of India employee. An State Bank of India employee, that is wrong. But when these words are used together as an abbreviation, we can say an SBI employee. So, students and teachers, this is the way we have to understand what articles are. What are articles? First of all, articles are determiners. Why they are known as determiners? Because they determine the position of nouns and they are used before nouns. And where do we use a or an, the indefinite articles? Before singular countable nouns. Where do we use a? Before a singular countable noun that begins with a consonant sound, not a consonant letter. And where do we use an? We use an before a singular countable noun that begins with a vowel sound. And articles are not only called determiners, they are also known as demonstrative adjectives, since they qualify the nouns before which they are placed. So, like this, we can understand this topic. Friends, if you like this video, do press the subscribe button and share the video among your students and friends. Thank you all for viewing this program.